What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Indy back with another video. Today we're going to be hopping back into the Stanley Parable. So just to kind of catch you guys up on what was going on last time, a lot happened. We kind of covered a couple of the endings, and it's been just it's been a mind fuck to say the least, bro. So today we're going to hop back in, finish this game out. It's probably going to be another longer video, hour and a half maybe. I'm guessing, rather. If you didn't see the first episode, I recommend seeing the first episode, just because like so much happened that I don't even know how to describe it. You know, there's just if you don't know what the game is, I've did some research. The game's been out since like 2010 or something like that. So apparently I'm just late to the party, but I'm enjoying it so far. Let's hop back into the game.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
At least Stanley was happy.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bro, it's like it's part 2, but it's the same exact game, except we have balloons now.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I wonder how many alternate endings there actually are in this game.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
It's probably nothing drastic. It's like really changed. Like say the wallpaper turned yellow or something either.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Why is it so dark now? Was it always this dark? Oh, there we go. I'm like, bro, when did it be? Like, I don't remember it being that dark.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay. We're here again. But we can't crouch anymore either. We can't crouch anymore.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
That person's still fired.
Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Oh, yeah, I gotta turn the TVs on. Where's the button? There it is.
Now the monitors jumped to life.
That one's still
their true
glitched.
nature revealed.
And they're
Each
still
bore the
fired.
number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant
That's our
nothing.
number right there, 427. Turn it on, turn it on. Look at it. It's so dark in our office. I wonder why. It wasn't that dark when we were in there.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it.
We found
His
out the
own
first
life
ending
in someone else's
is
control.
exactly the same ending,
Never.
but the game
It
had
was
balloons this time.
unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I wonder how many like endings really are in this game. There's just so many different options, you know, that you make throughout the game. The hell?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty.
This is different.
Was it over? Yes.
Oh.
He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
Hopefully it doesn't get
And
stuck
yet,
again.
Even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
That's ending one again. Back here again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, we forgot the bucket.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
How could we completely forget the
Stanley
bucket?
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
We totally forgot the bucket. That's one of the main DLC features of part 2.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
We still can't open this door like at all. Oh wait. Bro, we can open the door now? It's a DLC.
You found one of them. One of the
Stanley
miniature
figure.
Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Money in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast, money crisps. Is that supposed to be like Cookie Crisps? Oh shit. What about these other doors? Why they got a gun to the panda's head? Business strategy? I don't like that business strategy. Bro, what? This is like elevator music. Say Stanley. So how far up are we going? We're going to like the penthouse, we know. Bro, is this the end? Like, is this one of the endings? Like, we're right back where we started. Alright, let's try down. Tell me this ain't Stanley, bro. Yeah. Okay. That was a cool little feature. Like you.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed that Stanley guessed the correct code by
he's going on and on about this bucket.
Was it the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
So we know.
The elevator raced downward,
No, there's an
plummeting
ending.
towards
Wait, why
an
do we keep
unknown
turning to
fate.
this? Oh, I
It
thought we were
would be
turning to the
all
side.
Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right.
Love
The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
We love the bucket. The bucket's our friend.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Alright, so this time we're gonna go hit on this time, and then next time we're gonna hit the escape.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
You still can't crouch.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock.
I wonder why he got fired.
Everyone in the office
Like, how do you
was
get
being
fired
videotaped,
from being mind controlled?
monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
But
here was the proof.
Counter.
The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Like more doors or something, right? How do we get the rest of the collectibles? Like I said, this time we're gonna hit on, and then next time we're gonna go to the escape route and see what happens with the bucket.
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls.
Bucket did it?
Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
What the hell? I don't know. Which one do we do? Fly?
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, living through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
This is a newer ending. Okay. That was quite the ending. Silly birds.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
I wonder if the phone's ever going to ring again.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
That's new. That is new.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
What if there's people in there this time?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
That'd be creepy if there's actually people in there now. Okay, okay. That just gave me a chill. Trust the completionist instinct. How can we find them? Bottom text. Floating objects have appeared around the office. We have to synergize our resources. There are many questions. There was no room for management. You can say you spotted one. Well, that's the one in the bathroom. What makes it float in the air? Who took pictures of these? Are they gonna tell me where they are? Red room? Red room. Where is the red room? Thank you. Good luck. I managed to pick up sounds unusual to our regular office ambiances or local audio sources using an array of cardioid microphones, also known as directional microphones. Microphones picks up sound and particular analysis of the recordings allowed me to triangulate the sources of strange noise. Data shows in all likelihood is coming from dark areas behind a very warm place. I also picked up what looks like a reverberance off porcelain surface. Anyway, no. Okay, so that's the bathroom that they were talking about. Why wouldn't they just tell us something will happen? This investigation, this room, they feel pointless, to be honest. Saw one in cargo room. Cargo room. Employee 421 behind. Employee 421 building a bridge. Why do they look like 427? But where are the rest of them at, though? There would be a reward for finding them all. Lies. Where are they? A large room. Oh, say okay. So nearby a fireplace, somewhere both red and blue. Stairs. Something to do with stairs. A large room with lots of boxes. So that sounds like downstairs. Is this some kind of game? So that sounds like downstairs. Should we go downstairs first? Should we go
to a staircase? Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Should we go downstairs first? Let's go downstairs. This is where the red room is. That's locked. There's a noise. There it is.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs. What about Stanlerines?
I like
yes,
Stanlerines.
I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Okay, there we go. Got 3 more to go.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired
Open these
for
doors.
that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed
coffee, was that there?
Repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Buckets?
Could it truly be? He rushed
pick
forward
any
from
of
room
them
to
up?
room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming
An
from.
achievement says you can't
The
jump.
real bucket was inside of him all along.
I wonder what
It
that
was
achievement's
incredibly
for.
painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him.
If only.
Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter.
It's your
But
bucket.
of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
All the way. All right.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to
The
go to
sign
the
is
meeting
there
room.
again.
Perhaps he had simply...
Where are we going today? The bucket asked.
Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
All right. This time we're
Stanley
taking the
clutched the
exit.
bucket tightly
But
to his
escape.
chest and entered the door on his left.
They said something about 421, didn't they? Where's 421 at? Did I pass 421 already? Yeah, I passed 421 already. Alright, we're gonna look in 421's room next time. Alright, so we're both red and blue, nearby a fireplace. A large room. Fireplace is upstairs. And yeah, the fireplace is upstairs.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Said nearby a fireplace. Nearby a fireplace. Yeah, here's the
Stepping into
fireplace
his
here.
manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of
Like,
the
where
bucket.
is it?
Even now, in his darkest of hours, did
Probably
the
just
bucket's
behind it, or
warmth and
behind
guiding
it
light
somewhere.
pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes.
So it's somewhere
this is
in
certainly
here.
the most logical
There's gotta be.
explanation.
Where is it? There it is.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Stanlerines for sure. Stanlerines for the win. Let me know what you guys think. Stanlerines or Figlies in the comment. I'm a Stanlerines guy myself.
Stanley
Alright,
and the
this
bucket
time we're
walked
taking
straight
the
ahead
escape.
through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
There's gotta be one over here
Although
too
this
somewhere.
passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Yep. We got our bucket though, so we're good.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Red room. Okay. This part still scares me, man. I don't know why. It's just so creepy. Like, listen to this.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere.
This is so
Farewell,
like it's so
Stanley.
scary.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death.
Psych. That's the wrong number. Stanley Parable.
It was a shame, the
Oh,
death
too?
of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Sorry, I just flashbanged somebody. Welcome to the grand exhibit of the bucket. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge, much like a bucket itself. The human mind is frequently empty within a carnivorous void, but through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn out here into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit, or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were, in ignorance and darkness? So I'm guessing this exhibit is about the bucket, and not about Stanley. Is that a pilot?
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
Like a Da Vinci? Bucket with two handles? No bucket? Stress bucket. Let's see, wearing negative forecasting goes in and then it comes out with rest, relaxation, and doing something you enjoy. Oh my gosh, this is actually fire. Bro, this game just creeps me out. I'm so easily creeped out, bro. I don't know.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
How do you get past these? Like, I want to see all the exhibits. The hanging bucket. Oh, that's bright. And that's a long fall. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, yet there is yet more that is always out of reach. This is your distance, and everybody is for our own good. So, do we fall? We fall into the hole. That is the what is it called? The endless hole from when we finish part 1, technically. We fall into that though. Let's go. Oh, we don't fall. Do we grab the bucket? We didn't fall.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
Okay.
Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity
That's
to
one
run
of the
off
things
with
we didn't
another
do. We didn't
beautiful bucket.
reset the
We can
game.
save the world's buckets from their
I don't even
treatment
know
as
how we would
tools
do
and
that.
implements if only we let Stanley die
Would
together.
that even
The
register?
bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
R.I.P. Stanley. And Bucket. Alright, here we go.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
Where's 421 at? 6, 25, 2,
Good bucket.
21.
A strong bucket. A humble bucket. A committed bucket. A bucket of culture and distinction.
There's nothing there. There's a balloon sitting at that desk. Stop checking these doors. No cap. Okay. We still got 3 more to get. There was.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and
Alright,
entered
so this
the
time we're
door
going to
on
take the
his
right
left.
door.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Wonder.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was.
Figurine, no
How
Stanley
insightful the bucket turned out to be.
No Stanlerines this way.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Not yet. We're going to hit this one first at the road. There should be a Stanlerine somewhere in here, I believe.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
No Stanlerines, huh? Why am I so fucked? Oh my gosh. What happens if we fall? Can we fall? I don't want to waste a life though. What is over there? Wish we could jump. We ran out of jumps in our jump circle. Maybe on the other side.
Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Might be up there.
In here,
Said the bucket.
go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Lots of boxes. Where is my Stanlerine? Oh my gosh, I hate dark rooms. It's a phone.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Oh, I remember this ending. Stanlerine. Where the hell are the rest of the Stanlerines, bro?
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Where's a bucket? Oh, there it is. Hey Stanley, it's me, your bucket. Press down to take me to work with you. Wait. Oh, sheesh, we can't even open the door.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
This is one of my Stanlerines, man. Press B to take me back home with you.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well?
To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Press up to go back to work.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Don't listen.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal. It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
That shine. Look at that light reflection. Oh my gosh.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier. More capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
I do remember this ending. Really the same day with me over and over.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Working home.
I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with it? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
Go back to work, Stanley.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
Ah, the embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Where are those other Stanleys, bro?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
We're gonna hit the right, and then we're gonna enter that door to the left.
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
He's a genius.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Fuck the bucket.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Stanley, please.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Go down. We'll go down this time, and the next time we'll go straight through.
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
That baby just scared the fuck out of me, bro.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it.
No,
Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line?
No.
We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Okay. Oh, where's my Stanlerines?
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Oh, we got music again, huh?
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Oh, you never make me give up my bucket. Going down, 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 down into the deep dark depths. The sub basement ×3. Where's he? Oh my gosh!
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
Oh shit.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me, it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
My heart. Goodbye,
Now
bucket.
listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it for the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
It didn't let me.
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now.
Stanley didn't want to let it go.
Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
He didn't have what it takes. He didn't cut. He didn't make the cut. Sorry. The bucket's here to stay. What I need...
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone.
It takes a lot of humility to carry
Maybe
a
I'll
bucket
leave the
so
bucket.
magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward.
Maybe next time I'll leave the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket
Let's go
tightly
to the
to
warehouse.
his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Did I create a plan?
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Oh, you can close this door? Do not lie. If you're lying right now, stop. Wow.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Thing is, right? There it is.
getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly
need one
gotten
more.
all of the
Red
Figler Marines.
and
Very
blue.
soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then.
yeah.
Different in the sense that we used to have none of them.
Now we have
And
all of them.
now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Marines. None of us can.
It's Stanlerines. It's always been Stanlerines. What if we drop all the way down? Can we do that? Oh shit.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
That's a new ending too.
Someone was following Stanley. He
Oh,
was
this
sure
one
of it.
again.
If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter.
Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle
Alright, this time we're gonna go down that little tunnel.
Yet delicate, assertive.
But we didn't even hit that tunnel the first time. I didn't even know you can get down
Stanley
there.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct
I wonder
way
if you
to the
could get
meeting
down there
room.
last time.
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Yeah, so you can still
And
crouch
here it
too.
was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Yeah,
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
not yet.
No, said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
New church. Oh, what the fuck is this? A lot of cassette tapes. Where's my Stanlerine? What is this?
Okay, this is day number 295, tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore.
It's not the narrator either.
The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, that's over a bucket.
There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there? Caporata.
Fuck? You know what I mean about like this game? I don't think it's supposed to be creepy, but it is. Alright.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself.
As Stanley lifted his bucket, he felt a connection to all buckets everywhere. This
Gotta be
adventure, he
warehouse.
decided, was for all of them.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
Warehouse.
And this was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him,
Gotta be
telling him
warehouse. We've
that the
done
employee
everything else.
lounge
There's gotta
was
be
simply
something.
the place to be.
Crouch.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this... No,
Warehouse.
never mind. the bucket was wrong.
Like we have done everything
Stanley
else
took
at
the
this
door on his
point.
left to go back to the meeting room.
Yeah. Fuck that door.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes.
Well.
Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Red. We haven't gone here yet. Let's try to see if we can get onto
Good,
this.
said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I
Get
need
onto
you to
this
do.
walkway. This is like the only
Stanley
place
did
we
not
haven't been
question
yet.
why
but-
or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because
Oh,
buckets
we're going
can't
up pretty
talk.
high, though. I don't
But
wanna
Stanley
die.
chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
We don't have any cards. So we're going the open doorway. So I'm glad you can't get off this, bro, because I was about to lose my mind. Danger everywhere. 2B1. I didn't even hit this on the first go around, bro. I wonder how much.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if
Can't even
that's
laugh, I'm
true,
kinda
well,
frustrated,
my
bro. It took
goodness,
me this long.
I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
I hate dark doors, bro. We got purple.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Yeah.
Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Wow.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
I can't go tell if it's a hologram.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
If it's a 3D recreation, it's still
Item
a bucket.
3. Is this a bucket?
Three's got to be lucky number, right?
Correct.
Look at that.
This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket.
called
To
it a
be
bucket
honest,
of lost
I
ball.
just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
Okay, okay.
Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Is it now? Since when?
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
No.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere. Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless, is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket?
Yes.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry.
He's always trying to separate us from this bucket.
Erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go. What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear?
Everything is a bucket.
Was everything a bucket?
Yes.
Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay?
Okay.
And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Here we go. Alright, back at the beginning again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had... What new mysteries lay in store for our bucket-loving heroes today? Let's
when
find
everything
out.
is a bucket, we won't have to do that part anymore, is my theory.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Never mind.
Snaking.
The bucket was wrong.
Shout out Celium.
Stanley
that
took
is
the
your
door on
goat.
his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Try this again.
Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
We know that everything is a bucket now. Right? Stop.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see,
Oh,
there's a sign right
gosh.
there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket?
Cup isn't full.
I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment. Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Let's get it. Let's get it. I think we remember all the answers. This was also not a bucket.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Third one is a bucket.
Item 3. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket.
And there's a tractor next. Yeah.
Item 4. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct. This is a bucket.
There's another one, isn't it?
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
What was this one? I think this one was no.
Trick question.
Okay.
Both. Gotcha.
Okay. That's not bad. It's not bad. And then it was nothing.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence, and yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go. What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Warehouse. So like I said, we haven't done the warehouse without the bucket. That walkway. Let's try it without the walk. Let's try without the bucket.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire.
Just timestamp it a little bit.
It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong
Because
foot
if you think
here.
about it, it says no
I'm not
buckets
your
past
enemy, really,
this.
I'm not.
So if we go
I
behind, if we
realize
can
that
go
investing
past it
your
without the
trust in
bucket,
someone else can be difficult.
and I
but the
think about
fact
it, it
is
makes
that
perfect
the story
sense.
has been about
That's gotta
nothing
be the
but
ending.
you
That's gotta be
all
the
this
red and blue.
time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you forgot.
Really?
I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
You gonna do that?
Give me a chance.
Okay. Look, we have no bucket with us this time. Red and blue.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Stanley!
And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly.
Stiggly
Savor
Wiggly?
This moment, Stanley.
That's not a bad one.
This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
I don't know. What was my life before figurines? So I said red door.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop.
In a loop again.
We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Blackness, bro. I hate the darkness so much.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here.
Jump a circle?
Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
And so next time we're going to take the blue door and see what that does. Is that an eye? It's like an iris. Oh.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing. No! Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room? There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
Be like, come on, man.
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this. no. No, no, what are you doing? Do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
Do this again.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that? My God. Is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore.
Yeah,
I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
You sound so defeated. Guessing this is the final jump.
Is it over?
Yeah.
It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Alright, now let's hit the blue door this time.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness?
Yeah.
Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Stanley found the collectibles. Memories up. Bucket list.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Seven. The bathroom.
And here was a second Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the boss's bathroom. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
Stairs.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here, under the stairs. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Is that actual factual?
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room.
Oh no.
Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
That's not what happened.
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
By the narrator. Why is this like a fucking 2004 YouTube video? It's like 320 ping. Oh, that's a ping. 320 fucking frame resolution. Gosh.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else. And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figly and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Alright, so this time, there's a TV. They're at least the same thing.
And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future.
Fern.
Goodbye, memory zone. No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backward. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
What is this guy's problem?
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more. And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
Yeah.
Yes, I love that video.
Something tells me that's not the last time we're going to see that video.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
It is.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
We got 2 more?
This was our second Figly. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Oh, wait. We're back here again.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories. Oh, yes, the 2 doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
Yes, I figured.
And before everything else, there was your office.
Yes, this is true.
Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
Bro, this guy's got to get out
Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was
to
a
our
fiction.
coworkers now.
But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Alright, let's try the blue door this time.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
It was okay.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
It's not what happened.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Can't fire me, I'm Stanley.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
I'm Stanley
I'm not
the
your
manly.
enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
What? Really?
Wonder
I
what
was
he
in the
says
middle
on
of
that
something.
one.
Do you have zero consideration for
Yeah,
others?
let's do that one
Are you
next
that
time.
convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley
Has a lock
walked
on it
through
this
the
time.
red door.
Try the blue door.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, no, wait. Where are you going?
You've seen this ending already.
Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Please, Stanley,
No!
Oh, no.
No, no, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the
This
situation
sounds so
correctly?
sad, bro.
Or
Still got
maybe
another
you're
one?
just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Alright.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Epilogue. Alright guys, so this was a super long episode. I've been playing for 2.5 hours now. Just trying to figure out all the endings, and I found out that there's like not an actual ending to the game. I was doing a bit of research. There's just like a whole bunch of, you know, alternate endings. There's no like final ending or anything like that as far as I saw. Just from doing a little bit of reading, so I guess we're just gonna call it there. Next episode we might do an epilogue. If not, hope you guys enjoyed the Stanley Parable. This might just been a two-parter. Might hit the epilogue just, you know, just to kind of see what it is. But I hope you liked the video. If you guys liked the video, make sure you guys like the video. If you like to see more gameplay, you want to see more of me, more other games, you want to see my live stream or anything like that, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the bell notification, leave comments with your thoughts about the game and all the different options, and even some of the concepts that they talk about throughout the game. You know, just hit up the comments. I always reply back. I also have a Discord where I play a bunch of games with a bunch of different people. We play like Valorant, Call of Duty, stuff like that. Make sure you guys join the Discord. There's a link for that in my description as well. Comment what other games you guys want me to play. You guys can come in my Discord, let me know what other games you want me to play. I don't know what's the next game yet, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. With that being said, Indy out.